Hey everyone, it's Greg again. Another episode of Unbreakable Spirits. And this is my weekly sports take, especially on Philly sports. So I hope you enjoy it. A lot to talk about today. Let's start with the Eagles and their draft. A great draft. The Eagles addressed all their needs. Um, Howie Roseman is a genius. He did it again. He just knows he knows how to maneuver the salary cap. He knows how to make deals, especially on draft day, how to move it up and down the board. The Eagles have gotten so much better at talent evaluation. I mean, they got the best player in the draft from Jalen Carter at number 9. He traded up one spot, make sure he got Carter. They fill a need, defensive tackle. Carter comes in with a bunch of other Georgia players that he used to play with. Then they picked number 30. They Howie drafted Nolan Smith, outside linebacker lineman, the Hassan Reddick type player. A lot of speed. He could have went in the top 10 or at least top 20. And the fact that the Eagles got him at 30 is remarkable. And then they've got more Georgia players down the road. There's a quarterback named Ringo, not the Beatles, Ringo. I'm sure there'll be a lot of references to Ringo down the road. And what I think one of the best, not only a great draft each, they got an offensive lineman, defensive lineman. They addressed the secondary. They got safety from Alabama. But maybe the coup de grace of it all was trading for DeAndre Swift, from the Lions. Still young, 24 years old, a Philly kid coming back home. Hopefully he'll sign an extension. He's got a 1-year contract. You know what? Howie is so good at these 1-year contracts. He gets these guys 1-year contracts. They know they have to prove themselves, have a great year. They prove themselves, Howie gives them the money to extend them. If not, he lets them go, right? So the Eagles do a great job of that, finding these players who are at the end of their rookie contracts or 1-year contracts. Let them prove themselves, have a great year, and then go from there, right? So DeAndre Swift is another Georgia Bulldog. So I saw something on social media yesterday that said Broad Street Bulldogs. So could be the new nickname for our Eagles. I mean, what an exciting year, right? Think about it. The Eagles went to the Super Bowl. They almost won the world championship. They're NFC champions. And yet they made their team better. They're better than what they were last year. It's going to be a tough year because they have a tougher schedule. But the team is better. They even drafted a young quarterback from Stanford, who hopefully will be third stringer this year and maybe work his way up. I mean, they gave Jalen Hurts the extension. Even the Eagles' Kelly Green uniforms are coming back this year for at least a game. So it's an exciting time to be there you go, Philadelphia Eagles fan. Fly, Eagles, fly. The birds are just, there's just so much excitement around the city about the birds. It's always, no matter what the Phillies do, and I love the Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, it's a football town. It's a football town, and the Eagles reign supreme here around this area. And that's just the way it is. So I can't wait already for football season to begin. Next thing will be the mini camps. The schedule will be out soon. That's always fun. We know who the Eagles will be playing this year. It's just when they're playing, who they're playing. We need to figure that all out. And training camp in the summer, and it's just an exciting time. I can't wait for football season to begin again, especially when you have a team that's just good like the Eagles. You want to savor it and enjoy it because it hasn't always been this way in Philadelphia, especially with the Eagles. So it's a fun time, and it's a fun time to have rivalries too, like the Cowboys, the Giants. But Cowboys aren't getting that much better. I wasn't that impressed with their draft, and I think one of the things the Eagles not only winning the NFC East for 2 years in a row, which the team hasn't done since 2004. Think about that, 19 years. And the last team to do it was the Eagles. So that's a goal. And another goal would be not only to win the NFC again, get back to the Super Bowl and win that, but beating the Dallas Cowboys is always the icing on the cake. And the fact that we haven't won down in Dallas for quite a few years now should be another challenge. So there's so much to look forward to on the horizon with the Eagles. So Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie, great job with the draft this weekend, and can't wait. I got to talk about the Phillies really quick. The Phillies are proving the point. They won the first 2 games in Houston. Revenge for the World Series. Winning this series isn't going to make up for losing the World Series last year, but it does help. And they have a chance to sweep the Astros on their home field tonight, Sunday Night Baseball. And what gives the Phillies a lot of hope, well, number one, this is an important series because it makes a statement. It makes a statement that, hey, nobody's going to push us around. We're still here. Phillies are still National League champions. What really motivated the Phillies even more than the motivation they had coming into this series was when they got to Houston, the Astros mascot, I think his name was Orbit, some stupid thing, had a bigger than life ring, World Championship ring, and was shoving it in the faces of our Phillies players down there. And that just, hate to use the term, pissed the Phillies off even more, So they've been kicking butt down in Houston, and I love it. I love it. And you can say what you want about the Astros, whether the franchise, they've cheated in the past, which we know they did. The fans, or just Astro fans, you've got good and bad in any fan base, but the Astro fans just seem, not only do they seem positive, I mean, let's face it, down in Texas, football rains, right? There was a comment on the broadcast yesterday how the Houston fans, the Minute Maid Park was sold out yesterday for the Phillies game, but the fans were very very passive. Of course, they didn't have much to cheer about. The Phillies took control of that game and won 6-1 going away. But even during the World Series last year, the Philly fans, and I was included, I wasn't in the stadium for the World Series, but I was in attendance for 2 of the playoff games, were just wild, chaotic, passionate fans, just cheering and just going crazy, motivating the team. Whereas you've got down in Houston, laid back fans who really care more about football, college football, to be precise, than anything else. There's no comparison between the true passionate Philadelphia fan and a Houston fan. I'm sorry. But so it'd be nice to see the Phillies sweep them this weekend. And it makes a statement that the Phillies are still around. They're 2 games over 500 now. They're only a few games behind the Braves for National League East. So good times, because Bryce Harper may be back this week after his Tommy John surgery. Aaron Nolan and Zach Wheeler pitched great in Houston. That gives us hope that they may be back. Some of the other players who have been injured, like Ranger Suarez, hopefully will be back soon. So it really gives us Philly fans a lot of hope. So hopefully they continue on. After tonight's game, the Phillies go to LA and play the Dodgers out there. Always a tough task to play the Dodgers in LA. But last year, the Phillies played them 4 games out there and took 3 out of 4 and really should have swept the series. They blew the game in the 9th inning. But hey, bud, there he goes. So it's good times with the Phillies, and hopefully they continue to gain in the National League East, and a lot of good baseball ahead this summer. I got to talk about the Sixers. The Sixers start their playoff series tomorrow against the Boston Celtics, the hated rival Boston Celtics. Man, these teams go back a long time, don't they? I mean, I can remember when the Celtics and the Sixers played in the 60s, Wilt Chamberlain against Bill Russell. That's how old I am. Hey, but there were passionate games between these two teams, even like in the 80s, Dr. J against Larry Bird. Boston has had the edge lately. Even this year, Boston took 3 out of 4 games. Joel Embiid is hurt his knee. Last game of the game before the last game of that game 3 of the Brooklyn Nets series, he did play game 4. And it's going to be pretty tough to win that series, the Celtics series, without Embiid. Usually Embiid has great games against the Celtics. Last time they played, Embiid put up 52 points against the Celtics. Celtics don't double team him as other teams do. They sort of let Embiid have his way. They really can't stop him. Their philosophy is let Embiid get his points. Let's shut down everybody else. Make sure Maxey, Harris, Harden, make sure they don't get their points. So, but they're going to miss Embiid. Hopefully the Sixers can steal a game up in Boston, 1 of the 2 games up there, come home, and let's see how Embiid is by then. I don't think he's going to play in Boston. I would say the first time Embiid would probably play would be game 3, which is the first game in Philadelphia. That's my guess. But let's see what happens. The other guys are going to need to step up. Glenn Rivers, the coach, is going to need to step up. He hasn't been able to get this team past the second round of the playoffs since he's been coach. It's time, I guess you could use the excuse, well, Embiid's injured, but it's the playoffs. It's every man up, right? So the MVP award will be awarded Tuesday night on TV, and I hope Embiid gets it. I think he will get it, and that may be something that will definitely help him. The motivation, and you just got to get that knee right. It may not be right, that they say he might be wearing a brace, which is going to limit him and what he can do. But hey, I look at it this way: 50 or 75% Embiid is better than no Embiid at all. And sure, the other players have played well without Embiid over the last few years. But you're talking about winning 4 out of 7 from Boston, which is a very good team and a very deep team. and Boston has the home court advantage too. I think the Sixers could definitely win at least 2 games of this series, even without Embiid. But to win 4 games, that's going to be tough. That's just going to be tough. So let's hope for the best. The playoffs have been just great. I mean, I watched the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets last night. That's going to be a great playoff series. Denver just ran them out of the arena last night. Denver has better shooters. Plus, you add Jokic. He's the best player on the floor. No, I love Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, but Jokic is the best. And Denver has home court advantage. And add to the fact that Denver has that high altitude that they play in. They're used to playing it. Visiting teams aren't. Now, Phoenix seemed gassed in the second half last night. Maybe having a few days of being in that altitude will help Phoenix in game 2 on Monday night. We'll see. But I was very surprised that the Nuggets were actually the underdogs coming into this series. Why? I know a lot of people like the Suns and feel this is their time. Durant, it's his time. Chris Paul, you want to see those guys get a ring. They've gone through a lot, but I don't know. To me, I think the Nuggets are going to take the series. Not just because they took game 1, but I picked the Nuggets before game 1. I just think they're too deep, that they have too much firepower, and they have Jokic. And they have home court advantage. So the other game out west, the other series out west that we're looking at, it's today, 3:30. It's going to be a great game. Game 7. Game 7s are always great games. Golden State and Sacramento. I'm hoping Sacramento is going to win. They have a young, exciting team out there, but will experience prevail. I'll say one thing. Golden State had a chance to close it out at home in game 6, but they blew it. Nobody to blame but themselves. This young, resurgent Kings team just took it to them. Now the Kings can't lay down and can't let down. They have to finish it out and win game 7 at home to move on. Winner plays the Lakers. And that'll be a tough series. I mean, the Lakers really pounded the Grizzlies. Wasn't it great to see Jack Nicholson back at the LA Forum on Friday night? What a surprise, huh? Jack Nicholson is an icon, a legend, living legend, 83 years old. I'm not a Lakers fan, but it was good to see Jack Nicholson back in his usual seat, courtside, cheered on the Lakers. It was like old times again, when he would be sitting in his seat there in the 70s and 80s, cheering on the Lakers. So that was good to see. I'm glad to see that he's back out there and he's feeling okay, and he's able to attend some games. I was really surprised to see the Milwaukee Bucks get bounced out of the playoffs. I thought the Bucks were going to take the championship. I thought they were deep enough. I thought they were motivated. They have experience. They've been there before. I don't like the Bucks coach. I've never had. And he made some obvious key mistakes in the series, especially in game 7. The Bucks had it at home, and they couldn't win it. You have to give it to Jimmy Butler. I mean, you have to give it to Jimmy Butler. What a great player for Miami, huh? And the fact that the Sixers let him go in favor of Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons. I mean, I don't care what you say about Jimmy Butler not listening to team rules when he was with the Sixers. not having his attitude, whatever. He's a great player, and he's a money player. I know he's had problems in the past with every organization he's been with. Chicago, Sixers, you know, but he's a great player. You can't deny it. And if he was with the Sixers, I think they'd have a lot better chance of moving on now than without Jimmy Butler. Just regret that they made that mistake and let him go, let him walk, especially in favor of Tobias Harris, who is an okay player, but he is not a Jimmy Butler. And we definitely know that Ben Simmons is no way near a Jimmy Butler. So I'm rooting for Jimmy Butler. I hope he beats the Knicks in the series. I'm picking the Heat to win over New York in 6 or 7 games. I think the Heat are rolling. They have Jimmy Butler on their side. I think they're going to get it done, and they're going to reach the East Finals. And wouldn't that be something if the Sixers played the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals? That'd be great. So my picks are the Heat to move on. I hope the Sixers move on, but if Embiid doesn't come back, I got to be realistic enough to say the Celtics are going to win that series. And in the West, I think the Nuggets prevail over the Suns. I think the Kings win today over the Warriors, and we'll play the Lakers. So, and final thing, hockey playoffs, just great. Hard to believe that the Boston Bruins are on the brink of elimination. Well, it's Game 7. They're playing up in Boston tonight against the amazing Florida Panthers. What a series it's been. We thought that the Bruins, after setting records for number of wins this year and number of points, one of the greatest teams in hockey history, would be pushed to the brink of elimination. I still think Boston wins tonight and they move on, but they're showing that no one is invincible. Bruins can be beaten. So we'll see what happens tonight with Boston. The same way with Colorado, the reigning world champs, Stanley Cup champions, are also in the Game 7 tonight against the Kraken from Seattle. Give Florida credit, give Seattle credit. Even if they lose tonight, they push these 2 established teams to the brink. And you got to give it to them there. I think the home teams, Colorado and Boston, win tonight and move on. But I admire these up-and-coming teams for giving them a good fight. Look at the Toronto Maple Leafs. They made it to the round. So kudos to them. So it's a great time to be a sports fan, right? I mean, the Kentucky Derby's coming up next week. We have the Indy 500 later in the month of May. Think about it. Tomorrow is the 1st of May. Can you believe it already? We've got baseball in full swing. We've got playoffs in hockey and basketball. The NFL draft just wrapped up. I mean, who can ask for more, right? If you're a sports fan. So it's my favorite time. So I hope you guys are enjoying your sports out there. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week for our sports edition. And thanks for watching Unbreakable Spirits. Talk to you again soon. Bye.